Today, it's an honor and a privilege for me to be interviewing a woman who has redefined what a role of woman can be in Indian aviation and beyond. Women can have it all and be an inspiration to all the future generations on the pathway to their success story. I am really proud of the path which has been charted by Mrs. Nivedita Dubey, a trailblazer, a change maker, and a path breaker in Indian aviation industry and Airport Authority of India. She is the first woman to serve as a board member, HR, on the Airport Authority of India, blazing trails for women in this sector. She is an example of what women can be if they follow their path of dreams with a framework combined with their grit, resilience, and never say die attitude. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Nivedita Dubey, who is reshaping of the women's role in Indian aviation industry, opening doorways for many of those watching this podcast. Nivedita ma'am, it is such an honor and a privilege to meet a trailblazer like you.
Thank you, Zoya. Thank you so much.
Without much further ado, I'll get started on the journey of your days in 1995 up till here, where you have shattered the glass ceilings. You recently assumed the charge as member HR of Airport Authority of India, becoming the first woman to serve on the AAI board. What does this milestone signify for you and for the organization?
For me, it has been a great journey. I joined Airports Authority in 1995 as a management trainee. And coming from a city like Prayagraj and making a place for myself in a city like Delhi and in a big organization like Airports Authority, it's been like a great achievement for me. And for the organization, I would say that it shows how the organization has also evolved. Getting more and more inclusive and giving such good opportunities to the women in the organization.
And I'm sure you're making the organization proud and all the Bharatvasis proud. And Bharat ki betiyan are taking inspiration and notes from you. So I'm curious, your career began back in 1995 as an airport manager handling the terminal and airside operations at IGI Airport. How has this journey from terminal to boardroom shaped your leadership approach?
Well, so yeah, I would say that my experience when I joined as a terminal manager in Airports Authority, the kind of experience, the core experience that I got has helped me understand the grassroots level, the functioning of an airport, how the passenger feels, how the airport works, how the entire ecosystem works. It has given me all those perspectives, and that is how my decision making and the way I look at problems, it's all rooted from my experience of that period.
And I think as a woman, you definitely tend to have more of an emotional intelligence to see the issues that may normally be ignored because aviation is so vast now.
Yes.
And customer is everything. And their experiences shape our aviation industry. So hats off to you from all the way from terminal to the boardroom. I'm inspired.
Thank you.
You have managed 12 airports as a regional executive director when you were in the Eastern region. What were the defining moments of that phase? You literally changed that area when you were there.
Well, so yeah, when I recently, in 2023, I decided that I want to move on from the HR to core operations all over again, and I appeared for an interview for the ex-cadre position, and I became the regional executive director for Eastern region, and I was heading like you said 12 airports. And that perspective, it was very different because a lot of development was happening in the eastern region at that time. So the new terminal building at Patna was inaugurated, new terminal building at Punya came up, and likewise a lot of development was happening in Darbhanga and Bagdogra. And the kind of intricacies that were involved, getting a newly built terminal building commissioned, moving operations from an old building to a new one, or integrating the coordinating with the airlines and the different stakeholders. It gave me an immense kind of experience. That experience, I would say, coupled with the experience that I got as the terminal manager, where I even had to handle a lot of aircraft emergencies, including the Charkhi Dadri made their collision. It has given me in-depth knowledge of how the airport works, what challenges are there, how the people, my workforce, which is at the different airports, each type of person, each officer or a staff, what he's feeling, what he's contributing, how he is contributing. It has given me a good perspective into that.
And I think also in 2023, coming from HR back to operations again, that must have been very challenging.
It was challenging, but the challenges is what makes it interesting.
I totally agree. I couldn't agree more. I think challenge के साथ ही मजा आता है.
चैलेंज के साथ ही मजा आता है, और जब आप जाते हो और ऐसा चैलेंजिंग रोल लेते हो तो आपकी लर्निंग बहुत तेज होती है, बिकॉज यू वांट टू डू समथिंग विच यू हैव नॉट डन, एंड ऑटोमेटिकली लर्निंग साथ में आती है.
नहीं बिल्कुल. एंड आपने चरखी दादरी जैसा फेज मैनेज किया है. इट वाज सुप्रीमली चैलेंजिंग एंड आई एम श्योर you probably can shed a little light about how difficult that was, and then when you have to bring all your experience back into operations to rebuild, everything is a flashback, the tough parts, the good parts, and that somewhere adds value to when you're rebuilding something, right? तो आपकी वो problem solving उतनी ही ज़्यादा sharp हो जाती है because you've seen the highs and the lows. How was the whole Charkhi Dadri experience?
Well, it was very sad and challenging. I would say that that happened when I was very fresh in Airports Authority. I think it happened in 1996. I had just joined in 1995. At that time, I was also having a little baby in my arms.
wow.
My daughter was just 3 months old.
How many kids do you have?
I have two daughters.
Lovely.
And, so my elder one was just about 3.5 months old at that time when that
Oh my God.
accident happened. And I was, because I was handling core airport operations, I was automatically, obviously, it was such a devastating accident. I was put in the emergency control room, and I was coordinating with the police authorities, with the medical, setup, getting stock of the dead bodies, handing over the dead bodies, taking care of the relatives of the victims. It was extremely challenging, and it was personally also more challenging because when I was sitting in the emergency control room and I was not, going back home, I was so worried about my little baby, who was just 3.5 months old. So it was challenging from all perspectives, but it gave me the fragility of life. You get to know of that. It was so much pain in the eyes of the people, the relatives who were there. Suddenly, there's so many lives were lost in that.
I couldn't even imagine what you must have gone through. And I think the reason I asked you about this, I'm sorry, I didn't want you to walk past that. But the reason I asked you is because often for everyone, especially more so for women, it's always the tough phases, the struggle periods of the career, which really shape you.
Yes, they do.
And I'm sure that must have been one of the redefining phases of your career when your child is only 3 months old, and when you had to see all that at the airport. Must be very, very hard. So I salute you in whatever you went through. And having said that, when you said that you have to deal with different stakeholders, women tend to have a lot more emotional intelligence as compared to our male counterparts. All respect to male counterparts, but it's just an observation, a study. And often enough, women, when their careers are coming up, is also the time when their babies are growing up, which has happened with you exactly the same way. And it is hard.
It is very hard. It's very challenging.
How did you go through that?
Well, I believe that is what all working women go through. So maybe most people will empathize with that. So I was very fresh in Airports Authority. Rather, I was expecting when I joined Airports Authority. So I had my baby right after my ab initio training. Wow. And as I said, I've handled a couple of emergencies at the precise time when she was very young. I feel that whenever a woman is stepping out of the house and wanting to make a career for herself, she needs a support system. Not only in the home front, but she also needs a support system in the office.
Absolutely.
She needs a support system with her peer group. She needs all kinds of support systems. For me, my parents were the very strong support system who brought up my daughters, both my daughters. Literally, my parents have brought up my daughters. and my husband, he was the strongest support system at home, who would look after my daughters when I used to be going for the shift duties. And he would just step in, and he used to in fact say, "Ki, I'm more of a mother for the children than you," because during the like on the off days he would be taking care of the children, because shift duties are like that. You would understand, you're a
Yes, yes.
pilot, that you are also working on a Saturday, Sunday, or on Holi, Diwali, everything you are working.
Yes.
So on all those days, he would be the mother and the father both, and my children are extremely close to him for that. They're so connected with him. I think most fathers would not have that kind of connect, the kind of connect that my husband was able to build, because I was working and because he could spend more time with them. So I feel, Zoya, that for any woman to excel at the workplace, she needs to have a very, very strong support system at home.
Absolutely. I think beautifully worded. Um, I also feel that the whole support structure that we have children, we have to start that from the time they're born, because we have to see them as children, because they have dreams just like you, just like me, and every dream is valid. There is no dream which has a gender printed on it. So, as parents, if we can inculcate those values into our children, that is something we have to start from us. The change begins from us. And I would be really curious to know, how do your daughters look upon you now that you're a trailblazer coming all the way? How old are they now?
So my elder one is like 28 years old, and
Wow.
my younger daughter is 24 now.
You don't look like a 28-year-old's mom.
And they're both immensely proud of me. And I could say that when they were young, when they were in the school, and I used to be hard pressed for time, chasing my own dreams in office. And I could say I was a tough mom. So there was a couple of times when my kids would come home and say, Ki, everybody else's mothers help them, or they do their project works for them. Mama, you should also help us, or I should say, मेरे पास तो time नहीं है, तुमको खुद करना है. This is meant for you. I am not the student. I am not going to do your homework for you. It made them stronger. They were never dependent on me for doing their homeworks. Rather, people used to laugh at me when I used to come to office, and I used to just say, कि भाई I've disciplined my children. I would tell them, you take out your bottles, your tiffins, everything should be ready, your uniforms should be ready, your shoes should be ready. I am not going to do those stuff for you. So it made them so independent. And I am very proudly, I can say that my daughters have grown up to be such fine human beings. Both of them were studying abroad, and not for a single day I felt that they need me. There are parents who would say, वो खाना कैसे खाएगा, वो रहेगा कैसे, वो आएगा जाएगा कैसे. My children were independent from day one. They knew everything that they had to do. They were good with it.
No, I'm really happy that you mentioned all this, because there's so many people who would be listening to this, and they would be thinking, when that choice, that fine choice comes up between the career and your family, right? It's not a choice. You can do both. It's beautiful.
Certainly, you can do both.
All that you really need is support from your family.
And balance is very important.
Absolutely.
You cannot just neglect your children, but also you cannot just make them over dependent on you.
And that's
It's all about balance.
And that's a beautiful thing, because your children get self-reliant.
Yes.
Most of the children have that struggle when they grow up.
Yes.
So it's beautifully mentioned. So there is the upside of chasing your dreams is not only that you become more fulfilled and a balanced and a more successful professional, but also your future generations get inspired and also gain from that. So that's for all the people, who would probably think that अगर हम एक तरफ जाते हैं प्रोफेशन की तरफ, तो हम कहीं लूज आउट करेंगे. Lose out hota hi nahi. It's always a win-win negotiation.
It is always a win-win situation.
Yes. Really, really happy to hear this entire experience, especially about your daughters. With over 3 decades of experience. Oh, wow.
More than that now.
I can't believe
I'm an old
it. I need to take tips from you. Across operations, HR, and airport economic regulation, how do you view the evolving role of human resources in aviation, especially now that aviation is growing so rapidly?
Yes.
True, aviation is growing very rapidly. You also know the number of airports we had 10 years down the line, the number of airports that we have now.
Absolutely.
Airports Authority is also committed to providing so much regional connectivity now. So we are very like fast we are coming up with new airports. New airports are being established, and you are yourself from the aviation field. You know how dynamic it is, how regulated it is. So I would say that from the HR perspective, it's very important to have the right kind of manpower, the workforce that is available to you, and to just continuously upskill them, train them, and make them future ready all the time.
No, absolutely. And also the infrastructure. You also are right in the heart of everything. So it's a very high responsibility, and aviation is such a regulated field, and also there is zero scope for error.
There is zero scope for error.
So
So that's the reason why you need that happy and balanced workforce,
very important. And
free of
also,
all the stresses of life.
yeah, totally. And also, I think just like how you mentioned, we don't have Holi, we don't have Diwali. In fact, just a couple of days back, I was flying on Holi and somebody wished me happy Holi. I'm like, Holi, Diwali, they're all different letters worded together. We don't have any such thing. But it's beautiful in a way because when your time with your family is that much more cherished, and you can spend more of a quality time with them.
Yes.
And I'm sure when you must be spending time with your children, you must be adding value to them, right? Rather than just for the sake of it. So I think that's where there is a paradigm shift in women who are achievers in terms of who don't have so much of time.
I would say, Zoya, sometimes, I used to just ask my children, just try to gauge from what they feel about me having a working mom when they were younger. And I would always see that my children always used to say that they are happy with having a, not at home mom. They're happier to have a mom who's working and making a place for herself in the corporate world. And they would always say that their friends also feel inspired to, see my journey or see the kind of setup they have at home.
Absolutely, and I think you would be the superstar. I can relate to that because with my children also it's the same thing, and they are proud of you ultimately to be that role model for them also. So that's the most beautiful thing about not only chasing your dreams but doing it in the right way. And one of your key achievements also has been being the only woman uh, talking to the workforce back in the days when there was some industrial relation issues going on. How was that?
Well, when I was general manager HR, I was assigned the responsibility of handling the industrial relations, and I would say that women, usually they do have that emotional quotient. They have an edge on that, but they also have very good communication skills, and I think they're better negotiators also. So I could handle all the issues pertaining to the, all the concerns. I would say not issues, all concerns of the representatives of our unions or the associations, officers associations. I could handle that because I could communicate, I could understand their issues, and I could negotiate this way or that way, whichever way we wanted as a management to proceed. I could do that.
And I think also a lot of it is because you tend to relate to them at their level. Women are supremely emotionally intelligent creatures, I think, and but still to be alone, being the only one in the room, and to be a woman, that must have been something. Did you feel overwhelmed, or it was just another day at work?
It used to be just another day at work. I used to go to the labor offices. But mostly, I would find myself being the only woman in such places, but it's okay. I was okay with it.
I think you took everything in your stride, your entire journey. When you were really young, is this something that you wanted to do from the start, or is how did this happen? This career?
This career, I would say that the dream to do something in life it was inculcated in me by my father. He wanted to, he wanted to see me reach some place, and I'm happy and I'm glad that he's there to witness what I have been able to achieve, and extremely proud of me now. And it was his dream which made me move from one place to another, one step ahead all the time. And so I studied in Prayagraj. Mostly my father was in the armed forces selection board, and he was posted there. I did most of my schooling from there, and from there I moved on to Delhi. When I moved on to Delhi, Initially, it was an extremely intimidating kind of situation for me because I thought that I came from a city which was not a metropolitan city. So coming from that city to Delhi, it was momentary. It was very intimidating for me. And then I appeared for the competitive exam which Airports Authority had. It was an all India exam. I happened to clear it. Till that time, I had never sat in an aircraft. I had never been to an airport. In fact, when I got the interview call letter, it's a very funny situation which my husband reminds me all the time. When I got the call letter for the interview, my husband told me, "Let's go and see the airport." So we went to the airport, and there was a barrier where the security was standing. I said, "इसके आगे हमें जाने नहीं देंगे. Let's go back." So that has been my journey. Like,
No, but I think the biggest thing about your journey is not only that you came from Prayagraj, which is a much smaller city than Delhi, the metropolitan, but you chose a field, Airport Authority of India, aviation, जहाँ पे लड़कियां नाम मात्र होती
नाम
थी उस
मात्र
समय
होती
पे.
थी. When I got the opportunity I joined in the airport operations part of it. And, when I went to work the day one, there were hardly any women there. It was an entirely male-dominated field. And as part of my roles and responsibilities as a terminal manager or an airside manager, we would also have to look at the runways and the apron and see to it that the entire thing was like in place and everything. And people would not be going into the operational area. There were hardly any women, no woman would be there. And we would hear remarks from the then men, अब ये लेडीज भी आ गई हैं, छाता लेके जाएंगी या सनस्क्रीन लगा के जाएंगी. So those, and then from there we could, at least I could make a place for myself where I was respected and people accepted us finally.
No, thank you for making that place so as to inspire the future generations. You have no idea how
It
inspired.
feels like it. I'm from talking of the ancient times.
No, I hear you, and I think your story will change so many lives across generations. You have no idea.
But Zoya, now we have women in almost all the departments. There's hardly any area of airports authority where women are not there. I would say there is no such area. But we have women in air traffic control. We have women in communication navigation system. They're literally managing your airspace is being managed by women. Most of them.
I'm thrilled. The other night we were landing, and this woman controller gave such fantastic vectors. I had to compliment her. I said, amazing vectors. But having said that, yes, women exist today. Yes, there are women across ATM, CNS, every department, operations, you name it. But you're forgetting the core component. Not you. We are not focusing on one of the core parameters for that is that women like you, are the reason that other women dare to come into fields like these. Because when you're visible, women who have never thought of aviation as a career, they think, she's there, maybe I can also go there. You're a role model, and representation matters so much. You, by being here, being the trailblazer that you are changing the narratives of so many lives. So thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you, Zoya.
You are opening gateways for other women, so all the way from the airport to the boardroom,
Yes.
right? And creating a new uncharted path, which used to be now charted by you for the first time. It's incredible to hear your story. I literally had goosebumps when I met you initially. So thank you for sharing your experiences with us. I would like to request you for one sentence, if you could, for all the women, including myself, who want to be like you.
So one sentence that I would want to say to all the young women who are trying to make a career for themselves or make a name for themselves, just believe in your potential and never give up on your aspirations. No aspiration is small. It could be anything. And it could not only be just related to your work life. It could be anything else also. Be happy with the life that you want to live and make an effort towards that.
I think I could not agree with you more, and it's put in such beautiful words. That reminds me, there are a couple of more words that I saw of yours somewhere. A lot of us talk about dreaming big, right? But you defined it in a framework which is realistic, which actually anchors your dreams rather than just having those floaty, flowing, cloudy dreams. You mentioned something like dream big, but at the same time, do it with a timeline.
Do it with a timeline. Yes. True.
How would you talk about that?
You can't be a CEO where the moment you pass out of college. So you have to see realistically how long that journey is going to take you from a management trainee to a CEO, and then work towards it. Then you should know that by year so and so, and then the number of steps that you need to to cover in your journey, you would have to define that as well. That if supposing you are a manager and you have to be a senior manager, then a DGM or a GM, and then reach a certain level in life. So you would be defining that by this year, and if you haven't reached that place, that means your ultimate goal is going to suffer, it's going to be delayed. That is why it's important to have a timeline in mind. Otherwise, it's open ended. You're just waiting that something is going to happen.
I think on that note, I'd like to sincerely thank you for giving us all the time and walking us through your beautiful journey.
Thank you so much.